Now we look at the art of playwriting. As we said earlier, many times the art of theater begins with the script, and the artist who puts the script into shape is the playwright. While the playwright creates an object that can be defined as a literary art, he's really doing something quite different. Unlike the poet, who creates a complete and finished art object once they've written a poem, a playwright is more like an architect. Rather than produce a finished product, the playwright is really creating what can be referred to as a blueprint for dramatic action. The playwright shapes the action of a play with the use of dialogue and stage directions, but these are like the lines on an architect's blueprint. They only represent the finished product. It's up to the next person in the creative process to finish the product. So when a playwright is in the process of creating, they are essentially fashioning a blueprint for the director, actors, and designers to use as a reference. The product isn't finished until the dramatic action is being performed in front of an audience. Now, it takes a truly gifted playwright to put together a script that can be successfully produced. The playwright shapes individual actions that develop into sustained actions which will hold the audience's attention and deliver an experience pursued by all of the artists who put the production together. So what ingredients go into a well-written script? Our good friend Aristotle outlined what he referred to as the 6 parts of tragedy in his seminal work, Poetics. We still consider these essential to playwriting. Aristotle identified the 6 parts of tragedy as plot, character, thought or theme, diction or language, music or the aural elements of a work, that is another way of saying the sounds that a work makes, and spectacle, or the visual elements of a work. Of these, Aristotle identified plot as the most important. Aristotle described plot as the arrangement of the actions. In other words, how is the work structured by virtue of the dramatic action? There are probably as many different types of plots as there are plays written, but most plots can be put into one of 2 categories. A play can have either a linear plot or an episodic plot. A linear plot can be described by its root word, line. The action of a linear plot tends to move in a straight line. The actions in a linear plot can be said to have a cause-to-effect relationship. In other words, one individual action seems to cause the next individual action. The sustained action is clearly the effect of these series of events. For instance, in Master Harold and the Boys, the action begins with Willie scrubbing the floor and Sam reading a comic book. After Willie works for a short period of time, he becomes disinterested in his work and begins to practice his ballroom steps. This causes Sam to notice what Willie is doing and stop reading his comic book. Eventually, Willie's dancing prompts Sam to give Willie instructions on how to improve his dancing. This causes Willie to ask Sam to stop criticizing. Each of these result in the effect or the sustained action of Sam teaching Willie about ballroom dancing. Of course, each of these actions cause all of the actions of the play and have a powerful dramatic effect throughout the plot of Master Harold and the Boys. The dramatic action in Master Harold and the Boys creates a spine of action that rises and falls. There are specific actions within this and other linear plots that drive this action into its rising and falling action. These are referred to as the points of plot structure. The points of plot structure are individual dramatic actions that change the course of the sustained action of a linear plot. The important points of plot structure that we will consider are the point of attack, the inciting incident, the main crisis, and the climax. We will also consider the sustained action that follows the climax of the play, the resolution. For now, go to your task for this unit. When we return, we'll get into the inner workings of what makes a play plot work for the audience. See you on the other side of the unit task.